Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. Tonight, we are recapping the week's nerdy news from Wayne Manor to the Lars homestead and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me, as always, is Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
Well, Mike, I just flew in from Vegas, and boy, are my... No, I'm not even going to go there. Yeah, so I just got in about 15 minutes ago from Las Vegas this weekend.
Yeah, you really did.
In and
Crazy.
out. Literally was texting Mike saying, hey, we hit the tarmac. I should be back in time. Thankfully, I'm on West Coast time, so it's like 6 in the afternoon. Everything is great, and here we are.
Yeah, feeling good.
Oh,
Tomorrow, though.
Tomorrow's overrated.
May not be so good.
You don't think about tomorrow until tomorrow.
Interesting philosophy.
It's one that I normally don't prescribe.
Yeah, yeah.
I do not ascribe to this in any way, shape, or form in general.
The idea of it is wonderful, I think.
I mean, I'm pretty sure. Isn't that
it's
the premise of Severance? Like,
no,
not necessarily, but conceptually, like, all right, well, we're just gonna hit exactly what's happening at this moment, and that's it, moving forward until that next moment. It's a stretch. Okay, I'll give you that now that I'm saying it verbally.
Yeah.
In my head, that worked out much better than in execution. However,
yeah. Well, welcome, people.
Yeah.
Sorry you didn't get your regular Sunday night show, but I've said a couple times we've been doing a lot of Mondays lately just because we're busy people. We got schedules, we got stuff to do, and we're still making time. Steve just got off a plane, and we're recording just for you. So you know what? Shut up. This podcast that you
Mike's
love
writing comic
so very
books,
much.
and he's here talking to you.
Yeah, I know. We're sponsored by Funky Town Comics and Vinyl.
We are.
Which you should go to because they're great. We're also sponsored by I Brought a Gorilla to a Gunfight, which is a comic book that I wrote, which is launching on Kickstarter next week, a week from tomorrow, April 22nd. We'll be going live on Kickstarter.
Nice.
Brought a Gorilla to a Gunfight.
And it's an easy sponsor since you created it, and Matt Flynn, one of the, longtime listeners and good friends of the show, is the artist on it. So worked out well.
Right. That's right. Yep. And Michael Woods is the colorist as well. I'm also doing lettering on I Brought a Gorilla to a Gunfight. So that's a fun thing for me as well.
Expanding the palette here, Mike.
I know. I'm diving full in. I'm full in. So yeah, you can check out. You can. There's a preview page for I Brought a Gorilla to a Gunfight up now on Kickstarter. If you search up that phrase on Kickstarter.com, or you just type in gorilla, it comes up. It's on the first page.
Well, there
you type in gorilla.
And as you can imagine, by the title of the book, I interrupted Mike while he was describing the premise, but it involves a gorilla and a bounty hunter and gunfights.
That's true.
There
That's
you go.
True. A female bounty hunter in the Old West named Penny Westfield, whose partner is an 8-foot western lowland gorilla named Moki. And it's an action-packed, fun book. I hope to make more of them. I have ideas for the future. This is the introduction to the characters and the world. Check it out, please. Sign up. I've been told the more people that pledge on day one, the more likely you are to get funded. So please, 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 if you're listening to this, go to Kickstarter.com, sign up for the preview page. You'll get a notification when we go live on the 22nd. And support me if you would like to. If you want to read a fun book. Lots of cool rewards. We got some variant covers. We have a bunch of stuff that I can't think of right now. But cool stuff. You can get your name in the book. You can get a variant cover from UK artist Laura Helsby. And some fun things coming up that I can't talk about right now. But other plans are being made.
But you can probably find out in a week or longer.
Yeah.
So in that similar vein, tonight on the show, we're going to be talking about some rumors of additional delays to the Batman. Gonna branch out into some Mission Impossible stuff since the trailer dropped on the latest and potentially final by the name movie in the franchise, or in the modern franchise, should I say? They'll find a way to reboot that. And then into some Star Wars stuff, and then as always, our comic section of the pod. So I figured I'd start something new by telling people what the hell we're talking about at the start of the show instead of bearing the lead. Also,
Steve, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I try to do that sometimes, but I usually forget. You doing it, I think, is incredible because I
All
talk
right.
way too much on this podcast in general anyway. So take
Hey.
some more time, my friend.
Somebody's got to get the back end of it. And actually, speaking of the back end of the pod will be our discussion on what our Daredevil care level is. And
right.
if you can imagine, if you've seen this episode and your Daredevil care level is not relatively through the roof, I think you may be, I don't know, you have a very different opinion of this show than the two of us do. So, hey, stick around.
Spoiler,
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for our Daredevil care level discussion at the end of this episode. My opinion?
Yeah.
Episode 8, best of the series so far. Best episode of the series.
I wouldn't
Not
disagree.
maybe not the Netflix shows, but of Daredevil Born Again.
Yes.
Best episode that we've gotten so far,
Yep.
I think.
I think I may have texted you something in that vein before anybody had seen it of like,
yeah, man.
because I happened to be around Tuesday when it dropped and had nothing going on, so I was like, I think my wife was doing something, and I'm like, oh, I'll just throw it on, and I got done with it. I'm like, that is an exceptional episode of television.
Yes, like I think I'm gonna watch it a second time,
Yeah.
which I never do.
Yep.
Never do.
And
I think
also,
I'm gonna watch it again.
I think we discussed it in the pre-roll. When we get to that point, I'm probably going to forget most everything that I watched until you remind me, since it was almost a week ago at this point.
Yeah. Well, I watched it Saturday.
Perfect.
So I'm a little fresher on it for sure.
Absolutely. And then we'll see if they land the plane tomorrow.
Yeah, we will. Season finale tomorrow. So stick around for the end of this episode. We'll be talking about Daredevil episode 8 in spoilery detail. But first of all, starting with some bummer news.
Mm-hmm.
Peppered with some cool news, but a bummer in a different kind of way, a kind of a real life kind of bummer. Anyway, let's just jump into it here. There are rumors this week of additional delays for the Batman Part 2. We know that this movie has been delayed at least once, right? Maybe twice. I think just the once. Was it twice? It was dated twice?
It might have been once confirmed and then twice. Like there might have been something else that we had seen or reported on that was like, it might have pushed it a little bit type thing.
Okay.
But like definitely one big like year style change.
Right. Well, those are just rumors. Nothing is confirmed that it's going to be delayed. And where do those rumors come from? Well, it came from the fact that Robert Pattinson apparently has been cast as the villain in Dune 3, Dune Messiah.
Which is utterly amazing that he's cross-pollinating
very cool.
in all of the things we want to cover here.
Very, very cool. Very cool that he's going to be joining that franchise. Outside of that, this led a lot of fans to speculate that he is taking the role in Dune 3, that because he's taking the role in Dune 3, the Batman 2 is going to be delayed again because he's already doing the Odyssey, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey.
Right.
And then he's adding this to his plate, and the Batman's supposed to start filming before the end of the year. So people are saying, oh, well, the Batman's going to get pushed again if he's got to do Dune. People are either thinking that, or I also heard some people speculating that maybe Warner Brothers is giving him this part in Dune 3 as a way to kind of like keep him in-house or keep him happy. Like we don't want Pattinson to bounce because of these delays in the Batman. So like, let's give him something. However, according to an insider that I trust, Jeff Snyder, industry insider and scooper, he does not believe that that is the case. He does not believe that the Batman 2 is going to be pushed again. He thinks that the schedule is still in place. However, according to both Snyder and other outlets, apparently part of the reason for the delay in production of the Batman 2 in general, whether it be script delays, production delays, dates shifting, whatever, part of the reason for this delay has been something to do with Matt Reeves, director and co-writer, dealing with some very serious health issues, either surrounding himself or his family, his close family. It has not been disclosed. But apparently some of these journalists, industry journalists, know what's going on. Right. But apparently it's serious enough that they are not saying anything out of respect for Reeves at this time, which is sad if that's something that's really going on. It's terrible.
Very well.
That
It's very sad, but I'm also very glad that they're not dropping any
Sure.
tidbits or what. That they're keeping this close to the vest.
which makes me think that how serious it must be
Right.
if journalists aren't rushing to scoop, and who knows how long that'll last.
Right.
Like once somebody on a lower rung of the industry ladder is going to get that information and run
Want
with
to
it
make
to
a name
try
for
to make a name for
themselves.
themselves.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's a bummer, and it's sad when you think about how long we've heard, delays with writing or whatever this movie. Like, if this has been going on for a long time, that just is, very sad for Matt Reeves and his family, whatever the case may be. And clearly Warner Brothers and DC, James Gunn, whoever, has been very understanding about these circumstances so far. However, Jeff Snyder did say, from what he's heard and what he believes, regardless of those issues, he's pretty sure that if the movie does not get off the ground by the end of 2025, Reeves will likely step away from the project,
which is mildly insane.
It is insane considering the amount of grace he has been given. However,
if they do that, and it's the point where Matt Reeves steps away from the project, do they just scrap it with the new DCU stuff coming in?
I don't know.
Like that,
I don't know.
To me, that makes more sense of if Reeves is not at the helm of this, because the whole reason they kept it when they brought James Gunn in was because it was as successful as it was, and it was Reeves' vision.
Yes.
And between that and the Penguin, like there's a lot riding on his vision in this. And unless he's giving the keys to somebody else and like trusting them with what's going on, I wouldn't want someone else to step in. Like at that point, you just pull out and just say, all right, this is we're putting a bow on this and calling it a movie and a follow-up show.
Right. Or does that get absorbed into the DCU? Is that suddenly made canon in the DCU?
Yeah. Do you bring does Gunn find a way to bring that in? Yeah.
Right. So that would be upsetting for a number of reasons if Reeves was to step away. And like I just said, it's clear that the studio has been very understanding of what other circumstances are. However, I'm sure on the studio level, there's also some frustration that it has taken so long to get the movie into production. And I think, what Snyder was saying is basically like, it's going to be, hey, at some point it's going to be, hey, we have to get moving on this with or without you. That might be at the end of this year if he can't get the production up and running. So, Steve, kind of what you said, going off what you said, I agree that I think if Reeves has somebody in mind that maybe he's been working with, an assistant director, or, if he's got a crew and somebody that can step in and kind of take his place as director that can execute it in a way that will be true to whatever his vision was for the film, great.
Right.
But I don't know that I just want Warner Brothers to hand the script over to, Joe Blow director or whatever, and think that we're going to get something as good as the Batman Part 1. So it'd be interesting. A quote from Snyder, from Jeff Snyder regarding this issue, was also along the lines of kind of what you said, as to the sequel. The fact that it needs a sequel is less important to Warner Brothers than the character needing to be back on screen. So that quote makes me think that if he does step away, maybe they don't go forward with his script, or maybe they save it for another time and we just see Pattinson absorbed into the DCU. We see him show up in whatever Lanterns or something, we see him make an appearance somewhere else as that character. Because it seems like there's a lot up in the air surrounding Batman in movies going forward, and whether that's on the Matt Reeves side, and whether you're talking about the delays, or whether you're talking about the health issues, or whether we're talking on the DCU side. There hasn't been a Batman cast yet on that side. There hasn't been much movement on the Brave and the Bold. Like, there's a lot going on, a lot of juggling. There's a lot up in the air, a lot that's not confirmed around when we will see Batman on the big screen again. So that is just a little bit of information that we learned this week regarding that. Little other nugget of information is we got I didn't put it in the rundown even, but we got some set photos of the filming of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
Oh, I didn't see those.
We got you should look them up. We got a good shot of Millie Alcott in her Supergirl uniform. Guess what? Looks like Supergirl. Nothing
Weird.
shocking.
Never would have expected.
Yep. House of L symbol, blue top, red skirt. They did go with the skirt. That was like the only thing they probably was kind of up in the air, whether or not they're going to do skirt or pants, because there's been both. But kind of classic Supergirl look. We also got this week that Jason Momoa announced that he has wrapped filming as Lobo for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. So he's done. Production is moving along. I guess we don't know how big of a role he has in Supergirl. He might be just, a side character, or might be only in it for a second. But
it could just be a weird cameo that like they did just to, tie him into it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she needs him for something. He's just in Act 2 or whatever.
Right.
She needs somebody to help her get to something so she can do something.
He's literally just a mercenary that's doing something for someone or her or who the hell knows. Yeah. Like one way or another to get Jason Momoa on screen.
Yeah, my guess is that the Lobo character is going to probably represent or substitute in for several characters that are in the graphic novel. As they said before, they are shrinking the story of the novel because they can't possibly fit it all in one movie. It's the general idea, and she runs into a bunch of different aliens and antagonists in that film. So I think Lobo is probably going to take the place of maybe a couple of those. They're going to blend some story points together. Yeah, exactly. That's my guess. That is my guess.
I'm going to throw one. I'm going to throw one in there for you.
Oh, hit me.
I think I linked it in our text, but wanted to bring up something that I know we don't normally talk about because both of us do not agree in any way, shape, or form with the creator of this work. But
we don't talk about
in the
Harry
pop
Potter
culture
because we hate J.K. Rowling.
Right.
J.K. Rowling is a monster, and we don't want to give her too much credit for anything.
So we will preface it with that. However, John Lithgow has been cast in the upcoming HBO reboot or whatever they're going to call it.
It is a reboot, I believe.
Yeah, it's a reboot retelling in TV form.
Yeah.
With John Lithgow of everything fame because he's all over the place, everything. Arguably one of my favorite things he ever did was Dexter. I don't know if you ever saw that show.
I never saw Dexter. He was on Dexter?
Yeah, he portrayed one of the serial killers that was absolutely it was one of the finest things I've ever seen him do, and that's saying a lot from him.
Oh wow. Yeah, wow.
That season of that show was the absolute apex of it, and it was a lot in part because of him. However, so he's been cast as Albus Dumbledore in the upcoming reboot. Janet McTeer, who's primarily a British actor, but also was in Ozark as Minerva McGonagall. Papa Isedu as Severus Snape. So race bend there. Nick Frost, who was in
Nick
a lot
Frost.
of things. Yeah, like Hot Fuzz fame.
Shaun of the Dead. Yeah.
Yep. As Rubeus Hagrid, which I believe will fit quite well.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's pretty good casting.
And then Luke Fallon as Quirrell and Paul Whitehouse as Filch. I don't particularly know those last two characters much, as I am on the
Paul Whitehouse's name is familiar.
But I mean the characters. Paul Whitehouse I've definitely seen in something. I want to say no idea. But the either way, the fact that they're bringing in, talent of that level seems to be that they're serious about this.
So, I know HBO's very Warner Brothers is serious as a heart attack about trying to get the IP that they have that has juice still. And I think this is DC
Right.
as well. I think they're serious as hell about getting DC off the ground, which is why they're like, let's give you your own studio, James Gunn. We'll do anything you want. And Harry Potter, but like they said the same thing about Lord of the Rings. I remember when Zaslav took over, they mentioned DC, they mentioned Harry Potter, and they mentioned Lord of the Rings specifically. And Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, we were all like, you kind of told those stories already.
Right.
What
Pretty
are you
established.
gonna do without alienating fans? And in, we texted about this a little bit during the week, but and again, I was never a big Harry Potter fan. I read most of the first book and I thought it was boring and I stopped reading it.
Yeah.
I'm
kind
I've
of
seen
in
all
the
the
same
movies,
boat,
but
I'm tied into it because my wife and son both are in the world.
yeah.
And it is in the pop culture, like to the point where Universal Studios has made multiple theme parks based on it.
Yeah. Right.
Or at least sections of theme parks.
Yeah. But this is like, it is so it's not like in my heart. Like I saw the movies, I liked some of them. I didn't like some of the other ones.
Right.
But it's not in my heart in a way where I was like, oh, J.K. Rowling is an absolute monster. It will not affect my life at all to give up consuming Harry Potter
100%
stuff at all. Like it was not a problem for me. And like I said, I don't like talking about it because I don't like giving her any credit for anything. But the question that I have that we talked a little bit about in our text message is, this is a juggernaut of an IP, and it's an IP that kids grew up with, people my age, even though like I'm on the older side, you and I are on the older side of people, the target audience for Harry Potter.
Yeah. I feel like it was primarily
there's a generation younger than us that was like, the only thing that they cared about.
Right. That 5 to 10 years younger than us, that is right in their wheelhouse.
Yes. I don't think the show's going to fail. I think the show's going to be a success, but because of J.K. Rowling tarnishing her own brand. I think there's a lot of hardcore fans that, you made the point when we were texting about it. There's like casual fans that don't know that J.K. Rowling is a massive bigot and,
which
they
is
don't care. And they're just excited about more Harry Potter.
We talked about it. Like, it boggles my mind because of the property she created. Knowing the cursory that I do, being embraced by the people that it's embraced by, the whole story is about a, disadvantaged kid who was like put in a position that he had to, like, against all odds, survive and do what he did. And yet she's a giant piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like what? I don't know.
Well, Steve, there's people that watch Star Wars and don't understand that it's a metaphor for anti-fascism. There's people that read Captain America comic books and think that he shouldn't fight Nazis. There's just people that
listen
think
to
the X-Men are too woke. Suddenly the X-Men are so woke. Like, what? There's people that are just idiots.
There's people that listen to Rage Against the Machine and Green Day and wonder why they became so political.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when did Rage Against the Machine get political?
Yeah. Because some of those that workforces are the same that burn crosses, Mike. That's why.
That's very true. There's casual fans that are still going to watch this show, and there's hardcore fans that are still going to watch this show. This show's not going to be a failure,
right?
But I don't know that it's going to be a complete home run. One, because of J.K. Rowling has tarnished her own name and the brand. For people like me, if J.K. Rowling kept her mouth shut, I'd watch the Harry Potter show.
Yeah,
probably. But I'm not going to now.
Now, on the flip side, though, I guarantee my wife has no idea this is even happening. Like, that they're remaking.
Oh, really?
Harry
yeah,
Potter.
I know. There hasn't been. Yeah, well,
there's not been much.
There'll be a huge marketing push once.
Yeah.
It's up and running. You know what I mean? Like,
when they're getting ready.
Casual fans don't know about casting. They don't care about.
No.
They don't
does
look
this
at trade announcements?
Does this get an HBO 9 p.m. Sunday slot? Like, does this get their prestige slot?
Like,
speaking
couple
of
questions.
Which, Last of Us this week I have not seen, so do not touch on that.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't watched it at all. I forgot that it was been happening.
So did I, until my buddy told me on Thursday, and I was like, oh, crap, because that show was amazing, and I completely forgot about
it. Questions I do not have the answers to. A new one based on what you just said. 9 p.m. HBO. Like, what's the tone of this show? Are they going to make this show
Right.
accessible to children?
Yeah.
Because something tells me they're not going to. Something tells me this is going to be a gritty reboot.
Right.
Of
They're
the
going to
Harry
try
Potter
to prestige
franchise.
it and Game of Thrones
Made for made for the grown-ups that were 10 when the books came out and now want to see a gritty reboot of Harry Potter, but then you're alienating a bunch of kids and not letting the kids in, which you kind of want to do, to keep a property alive. Although Zaslav seems to not give a shit about children's entertainment at all and not see the value in letting kids enjoy the thing that you make. Also, not just because of J.K. Rowling being an idiot, but also there's so many people, but Daniel Radcliffe is Harry Potter to so many people.
Right.
And some people will be put off by recastings and not be interested because of recastings. Like Steve, if they were like, hey, we're making a Star Wars series on Disney Plus, we're remaking the first original trilogy.
Right.
What do you and I think about that? You know what I mean? If they said, would you be excited about that? Or would you be like, I don't think so.
No,
I don't want that.
I would not be a fan just because.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
and see, it might be slightly different though, because with the Star Wars IP, you have so many different worlds and so many different eras and whatnot to explore. Where
no,
there's,
but
there's
I'm saying Disney comes out and says we are remaking the original trilogy. And we're recasting Luke, Han, Leia, all these characters. We are remaking it as a series. I think that would turn off a lot of fans.
I think it would.
And I think when they announce whatever poor kid gets announced as Harry Potter, he's going to get a bunch of like hate because he's not Daniel Radcliffe.
Look at the backlash to Alden Ehrenreich being cast as Han Solo.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly.
Like,
that's exactly. You're making my point. Exactly.
It's not going to be great when they announce those three. Like the big three.
Yeah.
They're going to have a lot of trouble with unless, like, no, there's really no unless. There's no way that there's not going to be backlash.
There's going to be, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, the show's not going to fail, but I don't think it's going to be like, I think if they try to make it as like dark as something like Game of Thrones, then they're shooting themselves in the foot because that's not the tone that fans want. But if they are completely, and if they're doing it in any way that it's R-rated and kids can't watch it, I think that's a bad idea as well. But even just, the fact that it's not the thing that people are used to is always going to rub some people the wrong way. And on top of all that, you have the creator who won't keep her fucking mouth shut about, LGBTQ rights.
So Brian in the chat, because Brian in the chat brought up Potterheads are a different breed than Star Wars fans. And I'm curious what he means by that. Like, I understand there's definitely a difference there, but like, I feel like both fan bases are way too rabid in ways that are almost unhealthy.
But here's the thing. Any fan base seems positive until something gets changed with the thing that has existed for a long time. And Harry Potter is something that has not changed since it, besides the books were adapted to the films. That's it. And was largely successful. But like now we're finally getting to a spot where like a remake is happening. And whether that's, and in like the case of Star Wars, it was like, oh, you thought you loved those 3 movies? Here's 3 more you're going to love. Oh, wait, we don't love those. Oh, you love those first 6 movies? Here's 3 more you're going to love. And half people love them and half people don't love them. Like, it's like, it's a different thing. Like I feel like this is the first crossroads for the Harry Potter fandom.
So Brian brings up a point though, that they tend to be much more bought into the books than the movies. So he's not thinking the recasting will be as big, which I get to a degree, but there's still a lot of fans that have never seen or never read the books or it's I think he's spot on in that compared to Star Wars or another IP. Like,
Star Wars isn't based on anything. Yeah.
True. Wow. True. Whoa. Yeah. Just choked on my own.
But yeah.
Either way.
But that's another thing as well. Like, people that people also get mad when Game of Thrones didn't do exactly what the books did or whatever, or when Lord of the Rings didn't do it exactly what the books did. Like people like
Well, that's
super
I just
super
rewatched
book
Lord of the
nerds will
Rings.
find things to be upset about.
I literally rewatched
Also.
Fellowship of the Ring today, and I'm a huge book nerd.
Yeah.
And I texted our friend Steve Irwin about like, oh yeah, a lot of these changes that they made total sense.
Right.
Like,
but not everybody agrees.
thinks that.
A lot of people
but,
want books adapted exactly
right,
as they should
but
be.
You can't. I think both of us understand that you cannot do that.
Yes. Correct.
So
yeah. I feel like on paper, of course, it's a good idea for Warner Brothers to do this, but like it's just there's a minefield of reasons that are going to upset people or turn people off. If they can dance through them, then great, and I hope people that watch the show like it, I guess. But I'm not going to have anything to do with it.
And when you say on paper, you mean on paper?
Yes.
Like
yep.
Full blown cash.
Money.
There's no
100%.
Like this is a money printing machine for them, and it will continue.
I didn't actually mean dollars, but I did mean a piece of paper with dollar signs written on it.
Right.
That's the paper that it looks good on for David Zaslav.
You know what else is going to hopefully create dollars that the previous movie did not? Because I don't think this one's going to be released along with every other movie in the world.
Every other blockbuster that didn't come out during COVID.
in the same week.
Yeah, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. We got a trailer, I think I don't know. I think this is an old trailer. I think this came out before last week, and we just didn't talk about it. And it's cool, and it's great. And I don't even really want to dive into it too much unless you got something cool to say about it.
No,
Tom Cruise hanging off the wing of an airplane.
Right. It looked like a Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah, looks great. And I like that they are clearly, they're kind of setting this up to be the final one because they're like referencing stuff from all the other movies, like the knife from the first one and the bomb from the sixth one. Like there's a lot of like references to the other franchise. Looks really good. I'm excited to see it. It's coming out in May.
How old is Tom Cruise now?
He's 60, I think.
62.
62. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
Crazy. So this movie's coming out this year. Now our next story is something I'm very excited about, but Tom Cruise may not be so excited about it. The Oscars are finally adding a stunt category. After years and years of campaigning for this, an award for achievement in stunt design will be added to the 2027 ceremony. So the award is going to go to the stunt design team, not just like the stunt person that executed the stunt. Stunt coordinator turned director David Leitch was on the forefront of this campaign. And this is a big deal because stunts are a huge part of movie making. And
100%.
You're putting people's lives in danger every time you're doing something like that. So people have been clamoring for this for a long time. It's well overdue, I believe, to have a stunt category at the Oscars. So I think that's really cool. This is so the ceremony will happen in 2028, I believe, but the 2027 movies will be the first round of movies that it affects. So we're talking about Avengers Secret Wars.
Yeah.
The Batman Part 2. There's an unnamed DCU film on the calendar. There's an unnamed Star Wars film on the calendar. These are all possible contenders for best stunt, but do you think this is going to make Tom Cruise want to make an 8th Mission Impossible movie just so he can win an Oscar?
Knowing Tom Cruise, it would not surprise me.
If this had been a category, he would have gotten an Oscar every time a Mission Impossible movie came.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It would have been like a shoo-in. Like Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible 2, Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible 3.
And
now he's doing the last Mission Impossible movie, and then the next year or whatever, we're gonna get stunt category. That sucks for him. Well, he's never won an Oscar.
I guess how would that, like from an Oscar standpoint, how would they look at that? Because Tom Cruise does a lot of really stupid, crazy shit. But does that detract from what like the actual stunt artists are doing and stuff like that? Like, would Tom Cruise's name overshadow some of that?
I mean, I think it might. I think it would. They put out the big production videos of this is how here's this 5-minute video of behind the scenes how he had to learn to drive his motorcycle off of a cliff and turn it into a parachute like dive.
Right.
Like,
Meanwhile, you
there's a
don't
lot of
see
prestige around those stunts. Yeah,
right,
because he's Tom Cruise.
but you don't see the same videos around like Furiosa or something.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. That like the prestige that comes with a Tom Cruise stunt, I think I would have put him over the edge.
Yeah.
And he's a great actor, and he's one of the greatest movie stars of all time, one of the biggest movie stars of all time. The guy's never won an Oscar. So like I feel like he's at 62. I don't know. Top Gun 3? You gonna get a stunt Oscar for Top Gun 3, Tom? I don't know. You gonna make Top Gun 3?
Yeah, but Top Gun, he didn't even really there was no real stunting.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like, what do you define as a stunt?
Right.
A guy flying guy flying a fighter jet, like actually flying a fighter jet.
Right.
Does that count? He's acting and actually flying an F-16 at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, that's
I don't know.
Which Top Gun earlier today made it into my top 20 movies list.
Hey, yeah. Did you create a Letterboxd profile just to make that list?
Yeah, no, I've had a Letterboxd profile since we did our first Star Wars list.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
But
okay.
I hadn't.
I'm not following you.
Since then, I hadn't really done anything about it. And then I was sitting on an airplane, and I was like, let's throw this together.
Yeah.
So I did.
Cool. Yeah.
First cut at
Steve and I and our friend of the show, Matt Paseda, were sharing our top 20 favorite movies list. Maybe we should post those. We should post those on social.
Yeah,
to,
absolutely.
Share them. And you can follow Steve and I on the app Letterboxd. I use it more than Steve does, apparently.
Yeah.
You can see Steve's 2 lists that he has. I'm using it all the time. You can follow me for movie reviews and opinions and stuff. I saw a Minecraft movie.
Oh, did you?
A couple days ago.
How was that?
I did. I thought it was good.
Nice.
I thought it was good.
Very nice.
Laughed a lot. I thought it was really funny. I thought Jason Momoa was really funny. Jennifer Coolidge is in it. She's hilarious. She's always hilarious. Jack Black was great.
See, I'm off the Jennifer Coolidge train. I think it was after
off of it?
The second season of White Lotus when I tried to watch that.
Yeah.
The first one I forced myself through thinking I would find some moment that I actually enjoyed the show, and I did not. And then the second season, I was like, I think I just don't like Jennifer Coolidge at all. Because she plays the same character in every single thing, and it's just annoying as shit to me.
Steve does not speak for the entirety of the Multiverse Report when it comes to opinions on the show, The White Lotus.
I will agree with this.
Love that show.
Like, I find very similar to, oh God, what was it? Oh, Breaking Bad, where my wife and I just fell off of it. Of like, I know everybody else thinks this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I just don't get it.
Yeah.
And I understand I don't get it.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
Well, then you may not find her to be as funny in the Minecraft movie because, like, my wife and I talked about it. We're like, both her and Jack Black, I feel like they got the script and they were like, okay, you want the Jack Black thing, right? Okay, I got it. Like, okay, she's like, okay, you want Legally Blonde? Okay, I can do that. Yeah.
There you go.
We both thought they were very funny. I thought Jason Momoa was very funny. I would suggest to anybody going to see a Minecraft movie, go to see it in a theater packed with excited children. I wrote that in my Letterboxd review. It was the most uproarious viewing of a movie I've seen in the theater literally since I saw Avengers Endgame. Like,
that's awesome.
Kids cheering, clapping at the mention of something that I've never heard of before. Chanting, like yelling out the lines that they knew from the trailer, like just saying them out. It was hilarious.
That was,
my son lose his mind.
The Dogman movie was similar in that, like, everybody in the theater was going nuts for stuff, and I was just like, I'm gonna ride this train. Like, I don't know what's happening at all. Like, I've never read. Like, I think my son's only read a couple of Dogman books, but the theater was relatively packed, and everybody was having a good time. So I'm like, all right, I'll have a good time too. Why not?
Yeah. It was a great experience. Like, I'm sure that colored my opinion of the movie. Like, there's definitely like faults, and it's definitely more of a kids movie for sure. But I thought it was cool, and it was better than I expected. I don't have a segue for that. I wasn't even planning to talk about Minecraft, but here we go.
There you go.
Talking about one of my favorite things in the world, Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got some rumored castings for Sean Levy's Star Wars film. I think we talked about this not too long ago, but the name is still on the list. Jesse Plemons from Breaking Bad fame and many other things, is being looked at for the villain role of the John Levy mysterious Star Wars film. Jesse Plemons apparently was considered for the role of Kylo Ren in The Force
Really?
Awakens. Yes,
Huh.
I heard that. I read that today. So they clearly he's someone that's been on the mind of Lucasfilm for a while. Also, Jodie Comer is being considered for a role, which is very interesting because Jodie Comer has had a pretty good career. However, she's already been in a Star Wars movie. She played Rey's mom in the flashback scene in The Rise of Skywalker. So
That seems
these are
odd.
both rumors. They're just rumors. There's no casting yet.
Right.
But is she being looked at for a different role, or is she being looked at to reprise her role of Rey's mom?
And this is supposed to be the same one with Ryan Gosling, right?
Ryan Gosling, yes. Comer and Plemons would be joining Ryan Gosling in the film. And just before we get into our discussion, this film is apparently being said to be a more contained story and is being made for much less money, much lower budget than your standard, $200 million Star Wars film.
Which,
so,
to be fair, how do you do that with Ryan Gosling involved?
I don't know, but it makes me really excited about this movie. Oh, it's a contained story, and you're gonna spend less money on it. Great.
Right. No, 100%.
Awesome.
Give me practical effects and just a tight story.
And speaking of practical effects and Ryan Gosling, I just watched last week. I watched The Fall Guy that came out.
How was that?
It was great. It was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah, really fun, funny, cool. Like obviously, tons of cool effects. Ryan Gosling is just like charming as hell. Definitely worth a watch. And the whole time I was like, yeah. The whole time I'm just like, this guy's gonna be in a Star Wars movie. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
I mean, think about him in Blade Runner.
Yeah, he's great in Blade Runner. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if you have anything to say about that, these rumored castings. And I don't know, the Jodie Comer thing, I don't know. Because I feel like I don't think I think Kathleen Kennedy, we talked about an interview with her recently. She said this takes place in the future of the Star Wars timeline.
Right.
So if they're bringing Jodie Comer back to play Rey's mom, then it would clearly be another flashback, which I feel like isn't likely. I feel like they probably want to get away, whether or not Rey is like a part of the future of Star Wars, which I really think she should be. I don't think I feel like they probably want to get away from her lineage because that was such a focus of like the sequel trilogy. They're probably just like, we don't want to ask any more questions about that. We're done. We're just moving forward. So my guess is that she's not being brought in to reprise
whether
Rey's mom,
whether they want to or don't, they should get away from that. Like,
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
It was fine in concept, and then they found a way to flip flop it and turn it into whatever the hell Rise of Skywalker did with it, and that was that.
Yeah. Yep.
But
too much time spent on that thing.
Mm-hmm.
We also got did we talk about the trailer for Tales of the Underworld? We didn't talk about that, did we?
I think we did. I don't think we did on the show.
No, that's what I meant. Yeah. How did we not put that on the that's my fault.
Didn't that drop relatively? I think that dropped like right after a show or so. It was like a Tuesday or a Wednesday or something.
Yeah, I think it just slipped through the cracks. But there's we're getting as we have for the last 2 years, we're getting a new animated set of Star Wars shorts on May the 4th this year.
Yep.
First we got Tales of the Jedi, then we got Tales of the Empire. This is called Tales of the Underworld. Again, 6 shorts. 3 are going to be focused on Cad Bane, and 3 are going to be focused on blanking on
Asajj Ventress.
Asajj Ventress. Got it. Just as soon as you opened your mouth, I saw the A vowel about to come out of your mouth. Got it.
Both of them?
Yeah.
Well, I guess 3 of them.
Yeah. So that's very cool. The trailer looks really awesome. It looks pretty intense.
It does.
And those are always really good, so I'm excited about those.
I mean, Cad Bane he's always a fan favorite. It's gonna be another hot take, but I can take him or leave him.
No,
Like
me
some
too.
of those
Me too,
Clone
actually.
Wars
Yeah.
episodes were great. Some of them were like, okay,
Yeah.
you're trying a little too hard. His live action
Yeah.
appearance was amazing.
I did like
Um,
that quite a bit. Yeah.
but hearing more about him and why he is what he is, or what he's doing, or
Yeah.
like where his motivations come from, would probably make the character even better in my mind. And Asajj
Yeah. It
Ventress
seemed like,
is one of my favorite characters in the expanded universe.
yeah, Ventress is great. And I love that it's like her Bad Batch look. She's got her yellow lightsaber, she's got her
Yeah.
hair
Yep.
in the trailer. And yeah, Cad Bane, something about his brother, like we're getting to know his backstory a
Right.
little bit, which is cool.
So that'll be I
Um,
think all six, like it's gonna be just as solid as the last four that we've seen.
yeah, Tales of the Empire was excellent.
Yeah, it was.
Excellent. I should
It
rewatch
made
Tales
me
of the Jedi. 'Cause I
care
haven't
about
seen
Morgan
that again.
Elspeth.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And
So
even
hopefully we'll
the
learn more about. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say the Ahsoka and Dooku ones were great too.
Yeah, that's true. The Dooku ones were really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll learn more about Tales of the Underworld. Hopefully we'll learn more about this Ryan Gosling, Sean Levy Star Wars film this weekend at Star Wars Celebration 2025. That's happening this weekend in Japan. Are you going, Steve?
I am not.
Neither am I.
Like,
I'm going to Legoland. I'm going to Legoland this weekend,
oh, nice.
but I'm not going to Star Wars Celebration.
Very nice. Legoland's
No
always a
offense to
fun time.
Legoland. It is a good time, but I would rather go to Star Wars Celebration.
I would too. Maybe 2027, buddy.
Maybe 50th anniversary year. Woo, boy.
Multiverse Report
It's gonna be
live from
big deal.
live
from
from Star Wars
wherever.
Celebration.
Yeah. So what have we heard? What do we want to hear? I think you sent me an article about there's a rumor of a new Star Wars video game that's going to be announced.
That isn't even a
something.
rumor. That's official, I believe.
That's official.
They've
Okay.
announced a God, what was the name of it? Zero Company.
Zero Company. Yeah, Zero Company.
It's
Wars Zero
a
Company.
turn-based Star Wars strategy game, very similar to like an XCOM. So
Okay.
for anybody who's a fan of those franchises, which I definitely am, it looks right up my alley. So I will be very excited for that to come out. Basically,
All right.
you play in a turn-based combat type thing and set up your team, and it's like your team progresses RPG style, but the combat is all very contained and strategic. So it's
right.
it should be interesting, and definitely fills a niche that we haven't seen in the Star Wars video
for
game
sure.
sphere.
I just finished Star Wars Outlaws today.
Oh, you finished
Finally.
it? Nice.
I think it's my favorite Star Wars game. I think I like it better than the Jedi games. And I
Nice.
think not to slant the Jedi games at all.
Yeah.
I think I just prefer a scoundrel over
Right.
a Jedi in general.
Jedi games is in Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor.
Fallen
not
Order
in
and
the-
Survivor,
Not
yes.
in the old Jedi Knight and Jedi Academy
Correct.
games.
Correct. The games I have not played. Yeah.
Um,
So we've heard that so far. What do you want to hear, Steve, out of Star Wars Celebration this year?
I'd like to see an announcement of the continuation of the High Republic comics.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely had a very solid relationship with them, and I think they're down right now. I don't think there's a current plan to continue those. I would like to see some concrete something about what we're going to see film wise or TV wise
Yeah.
moving forward. We
Yep.
have a lot of rumors. We have a lot of things that have been tossed around at various panels by Kathleen Kennedy herself. But we don't have a lot of concrete anything. Like we get told the Glovers are making a Lando movie, and then we hear nothing about it. We get told that this Star Wars trilogy that's being done by Ryan Johnson is on off. We get told all these different things, and there's nothing concrete. And like if we just get a date for a Star Wars film, I will
Yeah.
probably be happy coming out of Celebration.
Yeah, I would. That's my biggest thing is that I want some concrete film information, concrete film announcements. I would love an update on the 3 movies that you told us about last Celebration that haven't come out and haven't even started
Yeah.
production.
Yeah.
Like not even officially greenlit those 3 movies.
Didn't think
I
about
would
that either.
love an update on
Yeah.
those three. Nothing's guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed, of course. But yeah, I think again we were talking about this earlier with our friend Matt Beseda, and he said it would be great if they came out and said, "Hey, there's a lot of talk going on. Here's what we're doing, and here's what we're not doing." Of course, that's not going to happen at all. But I would love that if that was what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Some of the people that are going to be appearing, I don't know if this gives us a hint at what we're going to hear, but Hayden Christensen is going to be there. Voice of Hera, Star Wars Rebels, Vanessa Marshall is going to be there. Rosario Dawson is going to be there, as will Ashley Ecclestein. So that's both versions of Ahsoka are going to be there. Ahmed Best will be there. Writer John Knoll will be there. Diego Luna and Sam Witwer will be there. Diego Luna obviously will be promoting Andor season 2. Mads Mikkelsen from Rogue One will be there. Alan Tudyk, also from Rogue One.
Alan
Manny
Tudyk, we
Jacinto.
find a way to talk about every week on this podcast for
Every
one
week.
reason or another.
Right. Manny Jacinto is going to be
nice.
there. Interesting.
I would love to see a spinoff.
I'd love to see a spinoff. I would love a surprise announcement of Acolyte season 2.
Yeah, because they never
they never officially said anything. Right.
Yeah.
And since they canceled it, we've learned that it was like the second most watched thing on Disney Plus all of last year. So
yeah, kind of crazy.
Interesting. I will be interested to see. I'll be interested to see what he has to say. I guess that's all. Interested to see what he has to say. Of course, Anthony Daniels will be there. Golden Tony himself. Tamura Morrison's going to be there. And some guy whose name I don't know. I'm trying to find out. Doug Chang. Name doesn't ring a bell immediately for me as far as
he's a
Star Wars
designer that worked on he's the VP and creative president or creative director at
yeah, I see that now. Yep. He's an Academy Award winning artist. Works on Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, things like that. So pretty packed list as far as Star Wars celebrities go.
And actually all those things you just mentioned, people may want to tune in next month for. Because I think we did come up with our official May the 4th topic for the year.
For sure. Yes. We also talked about, again, it's a third name drop on this podcast for our friend of the pod, Matt Beseda. The last 2 years, Steve, Matt, and I have done a Star Wars ranking episode for May the 4th. First year, obviously, we did the live action films. Last year, we did Force-sensitive characters.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an abstract one. This year, we're going to do...
To be fair, to lay that out, it started as favorite Jedi, and then we expanded it to Sith, and then we were well, there's some of those in betweens. And
yeah. And it got away from us, and it was like our longest episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What, us talking about Star Wars getting away from us? That never happens, Mike.
It always happens. So I'm just realizing right now, I feel like depending on the news that we get this weekend at Star Wars Celebration,
next week
our next 2 episodes might be very long because they're both Star Wars related episodes. So next episode of Multiverse Report, we'll be talking all about Star Wars Celebration, things we saw, things we learned. I bet we'll get an update on Ahsoka season 2. I bet we'll get a release date for Ahsoka season 2.
Probably.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
And
maybe like whatever the next animation is going to be, like the follow up to Bad Batch type thing.
Oh yeah, sure. Yep. I'm surprised that nobody from Mandalorian is there. Like Pedro Pascal. I mean, he's a busy guy, but like,
right.
I mean, the next movie they got coming out is Mando and Grogu, so I mean, maybe Jon Favreau show up to talk about that or something like that. But I feel like someone's gonna have to be hyping. Maybe we'll get a trailer. Think we'll get a teaser for Mando and Grogu.
Maybe that. I mean, if that's still on target, then yeah.
I think that's very possible. I think that's very like they've been done shooting that for a long time.
Yeah. Even if it's just a teaser with whatever they've got done and whatever CGI is complete, or Yeah.
They've had plenty of time to put something together. Plenty of time. So I bet we'll get that. That'd be cool. So then the following Sunday, I believe, will be May the 4th. So
Yep.
we're gonna do we're gonna drop our Star Wars ranking episode on that day. So we're not gonna do a regular episode. We're just gonna drop our likely will be a pre-recorded ranking of our favorite Star Wars television TV shows. We did the movies. Now we're gonna do the series. And are we gonna do?
So we'll technically have an episode in between there, but
Oh, we will. Okay, I was
yep,
just
20th,
guessing. I wasn't sure
27th,
if you
4th.
there.
So.
Okay, so you get 1 week off of Star Wars information, people. Just so you know. Are we doing canon television shows only, or just any Star Wars television show?
Oh,
Because like
I
that
would
uncanny,
say-
like not that like I'm gonna rank the Lego specials or anything like that, but
no, I think this mostly comes into play for that Tartakovsky Clone Wars. Doesn't it?
I was gonna say there's only one that changes
Yeah,
if we allow non-canon.
I would
stories.
say here's what we'll do: we'll stick to canon, but then also note where we would toss Clone Wars
Okay,
in,
perfect.
because I don't think either of us are putting Ewoks and droids in there.
No, not at all. Correct. All right. So, with that being said,
I may
We're
go
moving
back and
into
watch that now that you say that, because those were all
The
so short
Tartakovsky?
and so quick and like
so good.
Yeah.
They're all on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
They're all on Disney Plus. Great. I do not have a comic to review.
Nope.
And I don't have a Kickstarter call out. I did read Peacemaker Presents the Vigilante Eagly double feature, which was very
that's
good.
great.
And I didn't
Oh.
realize I didn't realize that James Gunn was actually involved in writing it.
Oh wow,
And 2, I didn't realize it was like it's a 2-part, it's a double feature. Half the book is about Vigilante, and the other half the book is about Eagly. And it's a series. It's not a one shot. It's going to be
Oh.
like a miniseries. Yeah,
okay.
so very
all
cool
of
and
these
surprising.
things are surprising to me and also
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah. Also, interior art on the Vigilante side by Mitch Gerrits, which is really cool.
Oh, that's great.
He's a busy guy, so hard to pin him down for a book.
And
But
everything he does
it's
is just gold.
it's incredible. Yeah, but without getting into any specifics, if you like the Peacemaker television show, you will like this book.
Perfect. I have a copy of it sitting over there.
Nice.
This week, the only thing I read was a whole lot of the Amory Wars. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It is
Nope.
the comic series that was put out by Claudio Sanchez, the lead singer and creative force behind Coheed and Cambria.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes.
So actually, friend of the pod, Brennan Gorin, who helped us out at
Mhm.
Syracuse Comic Con, let me borrow the first trade Omni. It was
collection,
kind of
yeah.
an Omni of like the first, I think, 8 or 10 issues.
Mhm. Cool.
If you like hard sci-fi and really good storytelling, it nails
do.
it. It's really good and it's really weird, and it takes you about half the book to figure out, like about half the trade to figure out what's going on, and you still don't
Yeah.
quite know, but there's enough hooks to keep you going, and then
Nice.
it kind of blossoms into like, I actually want to dig into the second trade relatively soon. So
Oh well, there you go.
yeah, it was a pretty solid read.
Cool. Well, outside the box
Which
recommendation. from
we
Steve.
haven't gotten to our responses from Syracuse Collectors Con,
I know. Yeah, we got to
um,
do that.
which probably, well, maybe we'll try and get them out next week. Maybe we'll do that in the downtime in between the 2 Star Wars weeks.
That's
But
probably a good idea.
we did have someone completely randomly that wasn't Brennan come up and write in Claudio Sanchez on their Mount
Oh, wow.
Rushmore of comic creators.
Wow. Cool.
So yeah, it's not amazingly well known, but very well written.
Awesome. Good to know.
So
Good to know. This week in your local comic book store, you may find the following books: Absolute Flash, #2. I'll be picking that up, I think. Batman World's Finest, #38. Cable, Love and Chrome, #4. Catwoman, #75. Conan the Barbarian, #20. Daredevil, Unleash Hell, Red Band, #4. DC and Sonic the Hedgehog, #2. Detective Comics 1096. Dick Tracy, #9. Exceptional X-Men, #8. Fantastic Four, #4. How can you not pick that up? Godzilla versus Steve. You and I have been talking about how Godzilla's been getting around and fighting a lot of people lately. Finally, he's swinging on back to the Marvel Universe. Godzilla versus Hulk, #1.
I don't think
Yeah.
that's really much of a fight.
Neither do I, but we'll see. Iron Man, #7. New Gods, #5. Nightwing, #125. Sam Wilson, Captain America, #4. Summer of Superman Special, #1. That's a one-shot. Superior Avengers, #1. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, #8. Thundercats, #14. Ultimate Wolverine, #4. Usagi Yojimbo, 10,000 Plums, #2. Wolverine, #8. Wonder Woman, #20. X Factor, 9. And Zatanna, #3.
Nice.
So I'm picking up Absolute Flash. I'm picking up DC and Sonic the Hedgehog. And Summer of Superman Special,
Nice.
I think, for me.
Absolute Flash, TMNT 8, and Ultimate Wolverine here.
Nice. Cool. I'm ready to send people away unless they want to hear us talk about Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. If you do not have a Daredevil care level, you should probably take off. But before you do, feel free to check us out on your podcatcher of choice. We are the Multiverse Report on all those. It's right in the name. You can see it on YouTube since you're probably listening to us in your ear holes at this point and watching us on video. If you're doing that, please like, subscribe, and sign up for notifications for when we go live. Beyond that, leave your review for Apple Podcasts if you can. 5 stars are appreciated. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/The Multiverse Report. And other than that, check out the socials, The Multiverse Report, wherever you can find us.
That's right. And now we're going to start talking about our Daredevil care level. Spoiler, friendly neighborhood spoiler warning for episode 8, the penultimate episode of Daredevil Born Again Season 1. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Spoilers. This episode's called Isle of Joy. This episode, again, rules. And I think it's the best episode of the season so far. And that's big for me, considering he does not put on his Daredevil costume, which is something that I've been pining for the entire series, and finally got in episode 6 and 7, and then he's out of it again, #8. But holy shit!
The first, I think the text I had referred to earlier that I sent to you said there's not a ton of action or fighting, but this is one of the best episodes that I've seen.
You said it moves the pieces.
That's it. There you go.
And I was like, and I was watching. I was like, oh boy, these pieces do beat me. So Dexter Poindexter, that's his name.
Yep.
Crazy name.
Yeah.
Crazy name, even for comic books. That's a crazy name.
Better known as Bullseye.
Better known as Bullseye.
Or Benjamin
Wilson.
Ben. Yeah,
it's Ben. Yeah, it's not Dexter. They just call him Dex as a nickname.
Right, for Poindexter.
Poindexter.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm an idiot. I'm just kind of side-eyeing a synopsis.
Now I'm going to look that up to make sure that I'm not going insane.
Dex. No, I think you're right. He's getting moved from solitary confinement to general population on orders from Wilson Fisk, which everyone considers a death sentence for him because of all the other inmates know what an asshole he is and knows what he's done, and they're just going to kill him. Which leads to him seeking the help of counselor Matt Murdock to help him get out and help him, because he also doesn't like Fisk or whatever. He knows that there's a tie between him and Fisk, and he's trying to leverage information that he has to help get Matt to let him out. Amazing scene. Great scene.
Wilson Bethel just kills it as Bullseye.
Yeah, he really does. Everyone on the show is great.
It really is. It really is.
It really is.
They even the new characters, they did a phenomenal job of casting.
Yes. Yep. I agree. What else happened this episode? Matt ends the meeting with Bullseye by slamming his head into the table and then telling the guard that he did it himself.
Yeah.
That
he's
Bullseye
going crazy and
awesome. So awesome. Matt and his therapist girlfriend are fighting because she's kind of coming out anti-vigilante, anti-Daredevils, but despite Daredevil saving her, and she's like, I saved me. I'm the one that shot Muse. You know, he didn't save me, I saved myself, which I thought was cool. And Matt is starting to suspect that she is defending Fisk or on Fisk's side, and starts realizing, oh, he's a client of yours, isn't he? And she's not allowed to tell him, but there's like tension between the two of them. She gets invited to a gala that the Fisks are throwing, and Matt's like, he's using you. But she doesn't care, and they're gonna go. I'm feeling like I'm gonna start bouncing all over the place because I can't remember like how it happened in a row, but linear. But Matt eventually goes back to Josie's bar and has a drink and figures out that Fisk must have hired Bullseye to kill Foggy because Foggy was confident that he was going to win whatever case that he had the next day that was going to damage Fisk's reputation or whatever. But then at the end, he realizes, no, it wasn't him. It was Vanessa. It was Vanessa Fisk that hired the hit on Foggy, which I thought was a really cool kind of twist that I didn't suspect.
I didn't think about that one at all.
She was seen it coming a mile away, but it was like, oh, of course it was her. She was the one that was running things. Fisk was still gone. Like, oh my God, so cool. So Bullseye breaks out, right?
Right, by spitting the tooth that he got loosened by Murdoch slamming his head against
his hand. That's right. Oh.
Yep.
He keeps one of his teeth in his mouth and waits till he is able to spit it into someone else's face and kill them. Just crazy. Crazy to say out loud. Sounds insane.
Right. If you had not seen the episode and you just heard you saying those words, you'd think
you'd be like, I'm not watching that show. That sounds stupid.
Yeah. Yep.
You didn't know the tone and like the build up to this. It sounds so dumb. So Bullseye is out, and it's a cool escape scene for sure. But then everything kind of points to this ball, this gala that's being thrown.
That Matt ultimately shows up to, but was I mean, they set it up like he's ditching. After the tussle between him and Heather.
Yes, Heather is surprised to see him show up. But it's at this point that he knows. I'm not sure if he thinks it's Vanessa at this. No, he thinks it's Fisk at this point. But he wants to confront Fisk about
it wasn't until after
hiring. About hiring Bullseye to kill Foggy. And this show, I gotta say, this Daredevil as a show, the Netflix show into this show, is a show that is known for having at least one incredible oneer, like a one-shot action scene per season, right? That's like kind of the visual language of the show. And they did that in the first episode. The first fight with him and Bullseye was done as if it was one shot. There's definitely like some hidden cuts in there, but it was done
designed to feel like those scenes from the Netflix show.
I gotta say, I think there was a better one in this episode, which I couldn't believe. The guy whose name I don't remember, the underling who gets promoted in this episode that Fisk promotes to like deputy mayor for communications.
Daniel?
Is his name Daniel?
Yeah. It's what's his face from Sopranos? It's his son.
Steve, I've never seen The Sopranos.
Neither have I.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jesus. He's talking to BB Ulrich.
Yeah.
Also we found out that BB knows that Wilson Fisk is the prime suspect in the murder of, or was the prime suspect in the murder of her uncle. She knows that. She's been working with him kind of this entire time. Interesting wrinkle.
Daniel Blake. And
Daniel Blake,
played by Michael Gandolfini.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. James Gandolfini's son.
Yeah.
Okay. I did not realize that that's who that was. So Daniel and BB are talking at this ball because it's been established they're friends. They've had, you know, ups and downs throughout this season, but they're talking, and it's a shot of them talking at their table. And then the camera moves to the left, and it moves over, and back behind the bar is the swordsman talking to another socialite.
Yeah.
And they have like an awkward conversation. She's clearly like rattled by something and doesn't really want to commit. He's trying to get information from her. And then that conversation ends, and the camera zooms further behind them to another conversation. I don't remember who the third
Oh,
conversation
yeah.
was, but it was like it just kept going, and it just kept zooming and like moving around people
Yeah.
and going further and further into the crowd. And I was like, I can't believe this is all the one. This
It-
is so cool.
It
was
didn't
so
even
cool.
dawn on me that that was a single cut. Now that you say that, I'm like, yeah, that was I can
Yeah.
distinctly remember because it was like, you know, fades out, like not fades out, but like defocuses, and you can see it moving
Right.
to the next.
Yeah,
yeah.
It just kept getting like deeper and deeper into the. I was
Yep.
like, this is so hard to choreograph all of this.
Right.
Like, it was really cool. It was really great. So they're about to. So Matt and Heather are kind of arguing, about Fisk and whether he's good or not. And Matt's like, well, let's find out. Let's go talk to him, and just starts making a beeline for the Fisks, who start dancing because they're at a gala ball or whatever. Matt cuts in with Vanessa, which is like crazy, and just accuses her to her face of you hired Bullseye to kill Foggy, didn't you? And Heather and Fisk are left talking. I'm not sure. I can't remember what they necessarily talk about. Bullseye shows up, tries to kill Fisk, tries to shoot Fisk from the balcony. Matt hears it and jumps in front of the bullet and takes the bullet for Fisk. And that's the end of the
end
episode.
scene, yeah. Like,
whoa.
There was like we talked through most of it, but there was just, after watching that, there was just so much to unpack.
Yeah.
Like, I remember just sitting here
cool.
like, what how did that, why, like, what is going on through most of that, like thinking about how they progressed that storyline to the point it was, and to the point where Matt is taking a bullet for Fisk.
Yeah.
Like, was Bullseye just getting revenge on Fisk, or like was it an order from Vanessa, or like there's another couple of layers there, and it's like, okay.
I mean, it could be, I don't know why he's trying to kill Fisk. I thought, I was like, did I miss something? I don't think that they talked about that. The synopsis that I have up, by the way, mentions that while Matt and Vanessa are dancing, Fisk, and I do remember this now that I'm reading it, but Fisk seems like he's building up to telling Heather that Matt is Daredevil. Like, he's starting to like kind of rev up to like a reveal or something, or hint at it.
Yeah.
So that's what they were talking about, which is cool as well. And she's smart, so she might be able to figure it out. I was just like, you know, when they were, I thought she was gonna call him on it early at the beginning of this episode when they were like arguing about whether or not he's good or not. I thought she was gonna like clue into something.
Yeah.
Call him out on it. So yeah, is Bullseye, you know, okay, if Vanessa hired Bullseye to kill Foggy, but then Bullseye went to jail for, been in jail for over a year for that murder. Is he just mad that they didn't get him out, or like they didn't help him? They just let him rot in jail. Like, in his way of getting revenge on Vanessa is to kill her husband, or is there something between him and Fisk that's unresolved that either we don't remember from season 3, or something that they haven't mentioned yet? We're going to find out season 9, or sorry, episode 9. I don't know, but goddamn, this was a great episode of television in general. It's a great episode of Daredevil, great episode of superhero television. And yeah, the finale's tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see.
Finale is
we'll see what happens tomorrow, because that's I mean, I have a hunch this is going to be one of those where we set up Fisk for the larger storyline moving into season 2, and that the Bullseye thing gets resolved well, giving us more questions into the Vanessa and Fisk thing.
Yeah, I am very interested. Oh, excuse me, getting tired. I am very interested to see how this ends, and I'm curious as to whether or not, like, how much resolution we'll get.
Right.
Because we know that this was initially going to be 20 something episodes of television that got cut down and then split into 2 seasons. It was really just going to be one long season at first. So is there going to be any kind of closure at the end of this first season? Is it going to be a straight cliffhanger that picks up directly at season 2 whenever we're going to get that? Because we know they're filming season 2 right now.
Right.
So we won't have to wait incredibly long, which is good.
It's always good.
But I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. And again, I really think I want to rewatch episode 8 before I watch episode 9.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout. Like, I may do that tomorrow morning, and then in the evening,
and just go right into episode 9 right after.
Yeah.
Just so, because there's so many pieces on the chessboard.
Yep.
That are moving, like big ones like Matt and Fisk, but also Heather, Vanessa, and down. And then, also like down to like the swordsman and like other minor characters like that. Like they're still invested in, they're still in the story and they're still doing their own thing. Fisk also tells Vanessa that
he keeps showing up everywhere, but there's no real ties anymore.
And he's trying to like confront Fisk, but then also Fisk makes him an offer in this one that's like, I'm going to crush you if you don't join me or whatever. And he agrees to it. Fisk also tells Vanessa and shows Vanessa that he's been holding Adam prisoner. And Vanessa
that was a whole weird.
Head.
I forgot about that. That was a whole weird scene too. Like,
shoots him in the head.
Yeah, I was expecting confrontation, and it's like,
oh,
okay,
yep,
that changes that whole dynamic.
We also got an answer of our question from last week as to, was Vanessa trying to get Fisk killed or setting that tracksuit guy up to get killed? And it turns out she was setting him up to get killed.
Right.
Which makes more sense, I think.
It makes more sense, but I would not have been surprised the other way either.
No, me either. No. Something I like about this show a lot, and they've been doing this a lot, and I like it for 2 reasons. A lot of times when Matt is having a conversation with somebody, they intercut it with Fisk having a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
On the other side or wherever.
Yep.
And I like it because, one, it parallels the 2 characters often. Like literally showing them what they're doing at the same time. Sometimes they're not doing dissimilar things or having similar arguments or whatever.
Yep.
But also it makes it more interesting, I think. Like if this was just like one long scene of Matt talking to Heather and then one long scene of Fisk talking to whoever else, I was like, that'd be a little boring. Like it keeps it more interesting.
It does. And it keeps you on your toes too, of like having to pay attention to what's going on instead of just droning in a conversation.
Absolutely. It's not as like, it's more interesting, and it's not just like, it's less lazy television making, I guess, it gives it a more interesting visual style. Yeah. The show's great. So I don't know what else to say about it. I think I'm tired and good and ready for bed, but I also love the show.
Yeah, I think we're good, but it's been great so far, and I think I'm very glad that what I had said when this dropped, I think after those first, was it 2 episodes that started it?
Yeah.
I think if you go back, I'm quoted as saying it feels like it's about 85% of the Netflix show, and that's as good as we're going to get for Disney. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that holds true, and I'm glad.
Yeah, I feel like this, and like we had a conversation when they released the trailer for Andor season 2. We had a conversation about Disney trying with good intentions to position Andor as like a prestige drama, which it is, or action series, which it deserves to be known as or seen as.
Yeah.
But Disney has a hard time pulling those fans of those kind of shows in, because a lot of people look at Star Wars and say, oh, that's for kids, or look at Marvel and say, oh, that's for kids. I know what Marvel is. But, you might know what Thor Love and Thunder is, but you don't know what Daredevil is. Like Daredevil's on a different level.
Yeah, very different.
So like I think Andor and Daredevil are the 2 prestige shows that Disney can claim. I think
100%.
Maybe there's one I'm not thinking of, but for sure those 2. Yeah.
No, I think we're onto something there.
Yeah. Yep. Love it. Love it.
Let's see what they
So-
do tomorrow, and we'll find out next week where this lands in the pantheon of Marvel shows for
right.
this season.
That's right. Can't wait to talk about it next week. And if you're still listening, go do all the things that Steve told you to do, like and subscribe and follow us on socials and all that kind of stuff. Stay tuned for next week when we'll be talking about a lot of Star Wars news, hopefully a lot of Star Wars news that comes out of Star Wars Celebration. And I guess that's it. So until then, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you. No. Wow. I forgot the whole, I went back. I went back to the old days before I had a sign off. I was just going to go, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Oh, yeah.
I was skipping over the whole thing. You didn't even notice either, did you?
No, I was worried about ending the podcast because we didn't last week,
Yeah.
remember?
We didn't last week. And you maybe heard me talk about the state I was in when I was watching Daredevil episode 7. But anyway, as the two suns set over the burnt corpses of Owen and Brew Lars, we say, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you in the multiverse.